Hey everyone. Okay, so welcome to the channel if you're new to Opal Oracle. I'm happy we found the time to be able to spend with one another. Okay. This is about time. This is about looking at the future. So this is the center energy, okay? So this reading, the intention is there's an eclipse coming. We can't, yeah, it's in Leo, okay? But this also has to do with 6 months ago, right? When the last eclipse happened. And just a second, please. Ah, fascinating. Okay. Hold on a second. So, let me situate myself here. There's a need to organize, right? Ourselves. In this space and time, like a... Well, let's stick to the point before I get into the cards. The cards just sucked me in, sorry. This intention is the eclipse. So therefore, again, it relates to the last eclipse last summer, which also therefore relates to the next eclipse, which is in 6 months this coming summer. If you're in Australia, obviously this coming winter, etc. Apply it as you will. So the point is that I've tried to record this a couple times. Each time it's progressively become more and more sensitive, okay? I guess we're becoming closer to that full moon, of course. From what I can gather, this full moon will affect your 4th and your 5th house. It'll also affect where Leo is in your chart. And of course, wherever it literally is transiting, if you know how to look those things up. Even if you don't, it doesn't matter. Think about it. The majority of people here didn't even probably, you maybe knew what your star sign was or your sun sign, you know, long ago. But beyond that, you didn't really know any of these things. Your moon, your ascendant, your this and that. So there's something also that I feel, although I really love astrology, I'm not disintegrating the worth of it by any means. It's absolutely miraculous and infinite. But because all this information is here, and Jupiter's in Scorpio, all this, then you have to remember that when you're digging, you have to come up for air because you are a human, right? You're a mammal. So you need to breathe air, okay? You have to stick your head out. You have to be able to get out of the darkness and understand when it's time to dig deep and when it's time to come up to the surface, okay? And then I saw all of humanity like swimming in the ocean like a bunch of dolphins, you know? Which have an amazing talent in communicating with one another, right? Vibrationally speaking. So it's important what's going on here, and that's probably why the other readings I couldn't, maybe it wouldn't let me because I was trying to separate everything. It was like, you know, Aries, Leo, etc. And then I even tried to break it down just to the elements like earth, air, water, fire, and that didn't even work. And so now it's about the smallest common denominator. Okay, we're trying to do that not by trying to get rid of everything too fast. It's just letting things fall away that are falling away and understanding that having less is really having more, and it's important what it is that we value and where it is that we put our time and our money and our energy and all this, right? And if you only had X amount of things, what would you have? Now, I've mentioned this before. It's a wonderful exercise. Maybe everyone should do this. Leo's a pretty free spirit, and the moon is ruled by Cancer, right? Rules Cancer, so that's about the home. If your home is wherever you are, then all of you should take a piece of paper, right, and write down all the things that you would put in your suitcase or your satchel or your bag or whatever it is that you would bring. Maybe you just want to fill your pockets. I don't know. But you should write down all the things that you would bring if you were, that was going to be your home. If you're going to bring all it is that you know, and it counts for, I'm talking about physical things, because those physical things will express what you connect to, right? What emotionally makes you feel good, what intellectually stimulates you, what vibrationally like causes passion in you, makes you inspired, right? And also what makes you feel grounded. So it's important. All of you should take up that exercise. You know, you can also do it with have this exercise with other people that you know, because then it'll help you to understand really how they function. Okay? Now, just a minute, please. Well, consciously, the collective seemingly is, there's something that's we've all forgotten. Okay? We have tools, and we use those tools for what they're for, but we also are still using, it's almost archaic, where we're trying to use a particular kind of tool, but it doesn't actually fix the problem, because we forgot how to fix something without a tool. We forgot how to fix something without a tool. We're reliant on the external. Okay? And I see that this moon, this eclipse, our inner child is like, hey, I also see that you're going to gain some sort of insight, whether through your inner child or just like your higher understanding, that person who you are on the inside, that's raw, that's fearless, that's inquisitive and curious and brave, right? The one that doesn't care about what happened when they were a baby, what happened when they were a kid, what happened when they were in their 20s, what happened yesterday, what happened whatever, whenever everything happened. The time is not actually the point when it comes to figuring out what it is that we forgot. It's about just looking at it and being a bit more honest about the situation, and also understanding that part that's stuck, right, that still feels locked up, well, you have the combination to the lock. You know, you have, again, we have only forgotten what it is that we know, because truth becomes something that's manufactured and trimmed. You know, the fat's always trimmed off the truth most of the time. Most people aren't willing to just put it on the plate, because either they feel like folks are too sensitive, or that's a faux pas, or that isn't politically correct, or, you know, all these rules and regulations that keep us jailed from being able to even cut the fat, right? I like that those of you who have found this reading are are fueling your own passions in life. This is about what I was talking about, like forgetting how to use well, there's something about remembering here, like you've been taking more responsibility to where and how you extend yourself in this world. Okay? Becoming more empowered in who it is that you are. There's actually 3 cards here that are of Leo. And there's 3 clocks also. Now, relying on the external thing, though, to stimulate us is still, it's so crucial, right? It's unnatural, too. You know, I mean, we're all allowed to choose what it is that we want to spend our time, energy on, right? And I see in the future, depending on how you subconsciously what you've been doing, and also because again this is I also see this as like a sun and a moon here too, so that's the opposites of each other, right? That makes something sort of at a 0 point, right? At least when they interconnect, although that isn't how an eclipse happens, but that's not the point. Metaphorically, sure. Literally, I don't know. I don't think so. But that's not the point. The point of the story is that each day we have a certain amount of time. And how and when we spend that time is all determined upon what we want to do. We have that choice every moment to say, I want to do this, I do not want to do that, or meaning I do want to do this represents I do not want to do that, right? Same time and space. I think people are actually starting to blow the horn on themselves a little bit better too, which I like. Integrity is important, right? You can't, no one can be the king of the jungle forever and always, right? That isn't the way that it works. This is Leo is only 1/12 of you, as it is all of us. So the point is that you're allowed to want certain things, but I guess it's important to know why you want them, and to understand, again, I think I mentioned earlier something about if we're taking it from an external source, if we're just trying to get something or make something or do something to fill our ego, well then that's something that really needs to be looked at. And there's like these 2 kids here. These are my little inner child creatures. And there's a male and a female here. So it's important drop egos, not bombs. Right, I guess what it is also is there's something about yes, we as human beings have to care for ourselves. We have to know what our own worth is, right? We have to know that we don't deserve to be in pain, or to be, we don't have to hold on to pain, right? We don't have to accept pain if we don't want to. It's all a choice. But you have to understand that for yourself first, then you can extend outward into the world, right? And that takes time. It really does. It takes a long time. And even after you've figured things out, you still have to, you still become, there's still tests in life, It's going to ask you what you want to do with the tools that you have at your service. Because all things in a way are kind of available, right? So it all depends on how we use them, and using them with integrity is important. I know that I'm as a side, because this is real talk, right? Real life. Like, I'm a tarot reader. This is actually my job. I feel incredibly grateful to be able to have this job. God, obviously, for some reason or another, helped me to understand that I already knew how to do this. It helped, right? It reminded me of something that I couldn't see before, something I had forgotten. And now here I am, and I'm happy to be of service to you. But also because of the person that I am, the ethics that I follow, the ethos, right? Yes, tarot is a beautiful tool as one example, but if you're using this tool for every single thing or every single moment, in your day, or checking it multiple times a day or even multiple times a week, maybe once a month, park yourself down there, sit down, absorb it, see what your heart has to say, things like this. But the constant is important. Now, again, I think most people that are here that have found Opal Oracle aren't excessive like that. But I know that because of the population of this and the expansion of what's going on here, it's a lot. And I'm not allowed to not let you know that, right? Because no one ever... Okay, let's talk about the internet, for example, right? No one teaches us the negative parts about the internet. You know what I mean? And it's important to know what all the aspects are. Really, just, it's not like you have to know everything, but at least have an understanding of, okay, if something's really good, then it could be in excess, it could be kind of bad. Because maybe we're just filling a space, like, oh, we don't get an answer, so we keep trying, right? It's like when you're gambling, you like pull the machine. I forget that Twilight Zone. You like pull the coin machine down, and he was so anti gambling too in the beginning, and his wife had won that prize to go to Las Vegas. But anyway, watch the episode. It's really good. But it shows a lot of like compulsion, like the human, especially a lot of times when the human is against something. Once they finally open the door and they realize that there's a lot of, you have to be, I guess the thing is you have to be aware of what's beckoning you in life, whatever that may be. Tarot, drugs, alcohol, bad relationships, depression, anxiety, whatever, like all the things, because the positive things, what those are. It's the negative things that that push you to forget. Okay. So maybe you need to write down a list also of all the things that you love, about you, about your life right now. What are all the people, the places, the things, and even if we're on the spiritual path, we're allowed to like physical things. We live in this world. I don't think you should be stealing anything from anybody else necessarily, in my opinion, but you know what I mean? You have this machine and we can connect through this. That's pretty cool, right? I'm super grateful for that. because of the donations that I got. I finally got a microphone. It's pretty exciting, right? Little things. These things can make us happy because they're tools that actually help the process, right? It helps it gives an opportunity for people to realize that there are tools, in the trees along the path if you want them. But again, with Saturn, you have to use them appropriately. And then I heard again the suitcase, okay? Now, I think subconsciously most of you are like, I know that there are things that are going to end soon in my life. Meaning that for some of you, it may be the literal end of that particular situation. But most of the time when an ending means is it's a definition of something, right? The contract of something changes. The details of that contract change. Now, sometimes they can change because it wasn't healthy for you to begin with. Sometimes it can change because those involved in that, the parties involved in that learned what they needed to learn, right? It can change because because you're never, of course, you're playing a game with yourself, but that game, of course, relates to all the other people in life. And so perhaps there's acknowledgement that comes in there as well that shifts the perception, it adjusts something accordingly. I guess that's what time does, is just adjust things accordingly. Now determines the future, and the future also, this is interesting. Hold on a second. Your subconscious is living in the future. The collective subconscious, in a way, lives in the future. Fascinating. So I guess the way that you are subconsciously dealing with things, feeling things out, reacting, will determine the future. Or are determining the future now, and therefore will affect the near future shortly. There really isn't any need to fear here, okay? It's very important to say thank you for your food. It's very important to say thank you before you go to bed, right? When you wake up in the morning, okay? It's important to know that it's okay to be sensitive, but also be assertive. Okay? I know a lot of the New Age spiritual path boasts a lot about passivity. I don't personally think that that's very healthy, because you're on one side of it. And nothing ever changes by just laying down, I'm not saying you have to fight physically, but there's a difference. Like, if everyone's telling everyone to just pray for, a new boyfriend or a new house or a new car or a new job or whatever, until humanity starts praying for the connectivity back to Mother Earth, to be in one vibration with Mother Earth again and respect that, then it's going to be a long time. Okay? I actually see subconsciously what's happening now will go until 2020. So it's important. I'm not trying to make you feel overly responsible. I just felt some of you got tight about that. But it's just important to continue to try to remember what it is that you forgot. Okay? And whatever it is that you have forgotten and then remembered, or remembered and now need to forget, right? Forgive and forget. Some of the things will need to be forgiven and then forgotten. But some things can only happen after you remember. But some of the things that you need to remember are actually very helpful so that you can hold on to those and again have better tools so that you can see things more accordingly and not get stuck in a place where you end up with two things that don't really go together anymore. You know, it's like where you come up against things in life and you're like, oh my God, why is this happening? I've already done this. In a certain kind of context, it's the same thing, right? You come up against the same wall, the same demon, the same situation, the same person, the same energy. It's like you have to take better responsibility for that. You know when that situation comes at you is only because when it comes back around and gets you again, it's your ego that you wanted something, right? Because the thing is, in Vedic, this is called mula, right? It's about respect. But it's only respect after you've done the things in the physical world. Therefore, prior to that, worked out things in the internal world. Internal, external, then respect. And then you get a little bit of a break to a respite to sit in that energy and to understand like, okay, I'm allowed to be comfortable in this moment, in this time. I'm allowed to be comfortable in myself. And then from there, you ascend to a place that's outside of the ego, right? And you gain wisdom, understanding that, yeah, sure, you could go through life just getting the things that you want in the ego, but if you don't understand why you want things to begin with, then you'll never understand whether you're in your ego or not, right? Because although Jupiter's in Scorpio in Western, Jupiter's in Scorpio in Vedic, which means that it goes back into, it's like last year we dug, from what I can gather, or did a bit of digging, but now we have to, there's a lot about integrity in there, and there's a continuing of digging, but now, well, I guess if you know any Scorpios, then you'd understand what I'm talking about, because there's multiple mountains here, right? There's multiple things that you're digging, and we are digging ourselves up and out, which is important. We're ascending, right? Hopefully. I mean, I sense that about a good portion of the population is digging a hole for themselves in the dark deep, right? They want money, they want big shiny jewelry, they want, you know, whatever, celebrityism, it's not a word. You know, a lot of people are really interested in that stuff. They want fame, they want to be pretty, they want to cover their face, their beautiful face that God gave them with a bunch of makeup, whatever, like, and sell that, you know, and try to tell little kids that they need to cover themselves and make themselves into something else to be accepted in society. To me, that's bullshit, right? You are who you are, wrinkle, fat, ugly, blonde, brown, beautiful, smart, whatever. We're all of these things, you know? But the way that you were made is how God made you, and that's really is perfect the way that is. You don't have to, it's not about changing, you know, if you're not taking care of your body, then that's different. That's your temple, your vessel. That's something you have to take care of, but that's about self-respect, right? And it's not necessarily about judging others. I didn't mean to extend those words prior about that, but I understand that is something there's an agenda there, right? People only work so they can buy things. that they want. There was something also in the second reading that I did that had to do with Capricorn, and since it's their birthday, I guess we'll end with this. So the North Node's in Cancer, it's about the tribe, right? So the thing is I sense that a part of what you should also write down on your list is what's your skill set? Like if you were to join a tribe that didn't have anything to do with society, right? Like say you literally lived like with the earth. Now it doesn't mean you're going to be sleeping under a you know, a burrow of pine branches. It's like, I mean, you could, that would be warmer than not. But the point is that if you were to join a tribe, what would you express that your skills are? And things that don't take any electricity, right? Things that, what do you know about the earth? What do you know about plants? What do you know? Whatever. Everyone's good at different things. Some people are good at building. Some people are good at, you know, paying attention to where it is that they are, or the plants, or whatever. What are your skill sets? What is it that you know? And I guess also once you figure that out, these are things that you should be, I guess part of your purpose is for you to share those with others when it's appropriate, right? When you have an opportunity to do that, share that with people. It's funny, this little kid here. I just feel like he knows. He's accepting, right? This kid is just accepting that whatever it is that's about to happen, it's going to happen. It'll happen eventually. For some of you, it's a lesson about this will happen eventually. For others of you, it's about letting things happen, right? But this isn't, again, about passivity by any means. It's about just I guess it's about, there's something about acceptance. I see that for those of you also who are subconsciously fixing things and trying to remember, okay? Doing whatever research you're doing, whatever digging you're doing is so that you can find that, to find like source, God inside of you, right? Again, not relying on something external, like you're really doing it, then that that helps so that you don't have to, it helps because you're compromising instead of just sacrificing, right? Or you're compromising, therefore you don't have to sacrifice, which in essence brings success, right? I heard there's no need to pick on the weak ones because there's a ladder to everything, right? Because it's fascinating too. You have this card in your subconscious, which is actually the other half of this lion. And to me, these cards together represent that this lion didn't bother eating this lamb. And how simple of a meal, you know? How easy that would be to just destroy that. Right? But he didn't. Because he already thought about what it is that this lion is representing, what has already been thought about. It's like there's already a consideration to, well, where is it that I'm going to spend my time, and how am I going to spend my time? Because I only have a certain amount of time in this life. And while I'm here, I'd like to figure out what it is I need to figure out, so that wherever it is that I'm stuck, I can start, or become stuck, or come up against some sort of challenge where it's like a puzzle or a quiz. Then I'm past the quiz, and then I'm prepared for it. You don't have to, I heard you don't have to go back to old ways. And I heard it's really good to trust in God. It's good to have something that's bigger than us, above us, that doesn't look down upon us. Okay? I mean, yes, we choose every day to do whatever we're doing, but all religious practices have God as something above them, bigger than them. The human puts so much strain. There's so much strain programmed into the human to be responsible for all the things that aren't even what we're supposed to be responsible for, and what we're supposed to be responsible for and respectful towards. We forgot. How many people even know how to live in nature? And even if they did, like the people that do now, I feel like there's a lot of, people don't talk about that, or I guess it's just a topic that maybe needs to be talked about a little bit more. Okay. I know you want to also, a lot of you just want to go right now. You want something to change. You're like, I'm ready to move forward. I feel like I've been standing here for a while. But the thing is you'll go when you're ready. Just like this lion, when he's hunting, this lion would stand just like that for a very long time. It's even got its paw up. It's breathing very particularly. Zumi does the same thing. She goes chase squirrels. There's a dedication here that's necessary. There has to be also respect of time, because time also represents Saturn. And he is a tough teacher. He's the Lord of the Rings. Which I have to think more about, because it's bugging me out lately, but I don't, it's a lot to think about. Anyhow, let's choose one Rumi card, because we can. Hopefully this won't run out of space. Let's see. For everybody, for all of the people. And for those of you who don't know Rumi, he's a wonderful poet. I think they put him in jail. But specifically what I wanted to mention, he uses the word beloved a lot. A lot of his poetry is, if you take it at face value or surface value, it seems like he's always talking about his lover. But actually what he's talking about is God. Let's see. For all people, for the eclipse, please. Yeah, that one. Okay. So we have divine discontent. Interesting, hey? Let's read what this has to say. It's number 12, too. It's all the way around. It's Pisces. Winter falls upon us. Here, you can see it. Winter falls upon us, so spring can bring new growth. Cry the tears. Allow the longing. Sadness brings surrender and a deep desire to be free. I know your heart. I hear it breaking and groaning in the darkest night when you imagine yourself to be silently cast adrift in sleep. It speaks to me, that sacred heart of yours, whispering its longing and bemoaning its divine discontent. Hold on. There we go. It knows when something is amiss. It senses that something is not quite right as yet. There is a piece of the puzzle missing. Even in its tremendous gratitude for all that is, and there is so much gratitude and sweet appreciation in that precious heart of yours, there is something murmuring, a question. It cries out to heaven. Vouchsafe me a blessing. I cannot go on. I am broken in need of your tenderness for healing. I am empty in need of filling, not with stuff and bits, but with the most precious nectar of the divine fulfillment. Nothing else will satisfy me. Please, please restore me to wholeness. I can bear this missing piece, this broken disarray no longer. I listen and I cajole that wise heart of yours. I praise for it, its honesty and longing, for the longing of an irresistible perfume to the beloved, attracting only the salve that will soothe the divine discontent of your truth-speaking heart. That of divine presence, absolute and unquestionable. It says, "Where is my beloved?" cries the awakening heart. I call for my beloved, and yet here I am, still waiting. I can stand this no longer. It's so dramatic. I guess I need to read a little bit of this to you, and then we'll close this out. As devotion grows and passion for the divine, or obviously connection to God, right, to all, intensifies, so too does this yearning. So much so that it may feel, or that it may come to feel as if though your heart is breaking. Or perhaps you are not quite there yet. Your heart is attached to smaller goods such as your status, your job, your lover, your body, looking a certain way, or being able to live your life in particular ways. These smaller gods are not necessarily an issue, yet you have drawn this oracle so that it is guidance for you, that God wants you to draw closer. Sometimes this means we will have to have the meager meal wrested from our hands so that we may feast upon something far more delectable and grand. And I mentioned that too, you know. Here we go. This is where we're going to end. It says, place one hand on your heart and one on your belly. And then you can repeat after me if you want to and rewind it. But this is what it says. It says, God, who loves me unconditionally, guide me now. I acknowledge the gratitude in my heart, genuine and fierce. And I acknowledge the hunger for the unfolding in my belly, the urging forward towards some unknown, indescribable, sacred, society. Jesus. I acknowledge the hunger for the divine unfolding in my belly, the urging forward towards some unknown, indescribable, sacred satiety. Guide me to the holy table where the true feast awaits. I am no longer satisfied by stale crumbs or the remnants of another's feast. I want to feast with the Holy One, the Great One, to know directly and for myself that I am deserving. With your mercy, grace, and wisdom, guide me there. I cast my soul. Well, I don't know about the cast situation. I don't like that word. It's a very serious word. It also says, I release that which is not worthy for my soul to feast upon. I do not decide this for myself from a place of distrust or judgment. I surrender my attachment and I trust in the sacred workings of life to present me with what is needed. I surrender. I surrender. In sacred trust, I surrender. May my life be governed by love for the greatest good and in holy service. Amen. Thanks, Rumi. The other reading, I read one and it was so deep that I cried. Sometimes his words are just so... They are just so... All right, I love you. Happy full moon. Interesting reading. I like these cards. Please take care of yourself. Love you. Peace.